Hey guys, so the anime's back and what an episode to come back to. So the first thing honestly to talk about right out of the gate is the new opening. And as I had stated in the last review for the anime, I kind of got a jump start on listening to the song that we were going to be getting for this new opening. And honestly, I really jived with it, but I also wondered what kind of visuals they would pair with this song when I first heard it. And honestly, when you look at what they gave us for this opening, the visuals almost feel polar opposite to the song. But after the second or third watch of the opening, it really started to click with me just pretty much how much that duality and that difference between song and visuals actually works in the opening's favor because what's coming up in some very tonally dark and emotionally hitting stuff, and the visuals do make that very clear. But the song is basically expressing that despite all this, everyone we will see our heroes. We will see the story overcome that darkness, and that they can cut through it with a path of with their own like path of light onwards towards their future in the sun. Like basically the opening is expressing that belief that for whatever you must overcome, there will always be a light at the end of the tunnel. And even if that is in stark contrast to what's going on in the manga right now, it does make me think that despite the majority belief that Wano is going to end in tragedy, I think that there will still be a glimmer of hope when everything is said and done, and it won't be as grim and depressing as people think. In fact, I think the opening might have just teased a little how this all is going to end, honestly. But I'll get into that a bit. Like that one way or not, like that even if tragedy befalls, I think there's going to be like a sort of light to take away from it, and and I guess the question is, am I more than likely reading too much into this? Like probably more than likely, hell yes. But this is just my interpretation of what the animators I think are trying to convey with this opening. But even if that wasn't the case, the opening this is one of those openings that just radiates the nostalgic One Piece energy. Like this, even though it's a newer opening, this feels like an older One Piece song. I can't describe it, but again, it feels very similar to something like I think it was like One Day with one day combined with Fight Together or something like that. But yeah. Um, no, with that said, getting into the episode itself, one thing I am noticing more and more, whether through the voice acting or just added scenes and dialogue, is the anime is making Queen out as even more of a detestable son of a bitch, even more than the manga. Like seriously, in the manga, I always thought he was a cold-hearted bastard, but in the anime, I, I think, I think it's bringing out the anime is in some ways bringing out the side of Queen that really gets like the fact that this man gets this very sick, twisted pleasure out of the pain and suffering of others through the use of his like latest concoction or his latest like experiment kind of thing, and it's making him even more deranged. Because no joke, when I was just in that opening scene of him just firing those bullets, my body was actually shaking with anger so much you could almost say my blood was boiling. And one little detail I liked that was I think added to the anime was seeing Zoro's reaction to all this happening, because I don't think we got that in the manga, and seeing his reaction that one of the monsters was one of the samurai, and just showing his anger, his rage at the fact that his comrades are being turned into that. It is a very small thing, but I think it does good at showing that despite how little time he's been on Wano, like Zoro has developed a very mutual respect for basically a lot of the samurai as a fellow swordsman himself. Of course, with Chopper being here, it's also setting up him as being the one to basically save everyone from Queen's like ice oni virus or whatever it's called. Um, After that, though, we quickly switch up to the other Straw Hats, specifically Luffy, Sanji, and Jinbei trying to make it through compound. And one thing I did like about this scene is how both Sanji and Jinbei basically chose to serve as the role of paving the way for Luffy to continue moving forward to Kaido and to just constantly trying to say to him, save your energy for Kaido. Stop trying to get involved in fights that are going to, where you're going to get, that are just going to slow you down. Like, it shows that even though they won't say it outright, they know that the only way, like, Luffy can defeat Kaido is for him to be at as much of his peak strength as humanly possible, because anything less than that will only cause a repeat of last time where he got thoroughly whacked by Kaido. And they're not, the thing is, they're not wrong to have those doubts or even suddenly think that, because throughout this arc, Kaido has proven himself to be a literal force of nature. Like, he is like, he's the fucking boogeyman that you pretty much see that your parents tell you to fear under the bed and whatnot. Like, you just wonder, like, if and it kind of just makes you wonder if even now if he can be defeated. Like, in fact, like the more I think about it and what lies ahead in the anime, I'm wondering if the battle between Luffy and Kaido will kind of end in a bit more of a non-traditional sense than other battles where Luffy has fought the big bad throughout the series. Because if you really look at Kaido and Luffy, it is kind of the epitome of the phrase an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. And in that way, like, I almost wonder if the battle will end with both Luffy and Kaido, like, still standing, but all their power completely drained. Like, that's honestly the like, it sounds cheap, but it honestly feels like one of the only ways I think that pretty much Oda can have his cake and eat it too, and still preserve some manner of dignity with Kaido and whatnot, being an emperor. And I don't know, like, it just feels like that might be the only way moving forward, like, for this fight to end. Now the one thing that could completely wash this theory out is that in the opening we see a giant beam fall upon the Flower Capital, meaning if Kaido does go down, he's not going to down without unleashing one final surprise on Wano and destroying the entire Flower Capital. It would be the best way to do it, but also, like, if Oda plays his cards right in the way he usually does it, and how he executes this in the manga, like, if the Flower Capital is going to be destroyed by the end of this, this could honestly be one of the more like amazing, like, narrative tricks Oda pulls, because the thing with the Flower Capital as a whole is that even though it has served as a beacon of hope and trust, hope and trust between the Kozuki clan and the populace of Wano, in the current landscape and time frame of Wano's history, it's kind of served as nothing but a beacon of strife for the citizens of Wano. So destroying it could, like, officially break Wano free from its shackles, and for Wano to be able to start from scratch all over again. And that specifically rings even more true for me after seeing that festival scene play out. Like, that's just one of those things where, yeah, I think the Flower Capital kind of has to go bye-bye in order for Wano to, like, truly move forward. And I don't want anyone, and even though there are a lot of scumbags I like to see dead, there are also a lot of people I don't really want to see die. So hopefully at least there are people who can be evacuated from Flower Capital before it goes boom. But we'll see. And yeah, and yeah, just I hope, and yeah, I think, like, when it comes, but that's kind of just it feels like, and yeah, it just feels like Flower Capital as a whole is just like the perfect conduit in order to, and even more than that though, one thing that I think the Flower Capital could achieve is that people have theorized for a long time that what is it, that Momo could potentially, like, join Luffy in the same way that Odin had joined Roger on his final journey to Laugh Tale. So I think destroying the Flower Capital could also provide the final motivation for pretty much for Momo to join Luffy, I think. And yeah, and yeah, I'll be honest. For something that was censored compared to the manga, that the anime went more graphic than I expected it to when Kiku's arm got sliced from his body. Like, and not even, and it wasn't even anything major, that a major change that really solidified it for me. But seeing little things like the quick successive drops of blood used as a cutaway actually made what happened to Kiku even more horrifying than the manga in some respects. Like seeing just the little details added as what were supposed to be cutaways. It was a very creative way of doing it, I think. That aside, though, it's like this was honestly a really fun episode, and one thing that really made it fun for me is just seeing Jinbei as part of the crew now. Like I never thought about how much I needed him as part of the Straw Hat dynamic before until now, but until he finally joined up in Wano. But just seeing Jinbei like take out that gorilla gifter while Sanji and Luffy were arguing was both epic and hilarious. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and on this Crunchyroll. Be sure to hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, everyone.